The cream of society go to a dinner party that will turn out to be mental and physical torture.
We're all gonna die tonight. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir!
At the beginning of the movie, Margot and Tyler are waiting on the dock. The boyfriend is excited with anticipation of a wonderful day. They go to a luxurious restaurant on a private island for dinner. Later, other invitees arrive there, a critic and her editor, a wealthy married couple, a movie star at the end of her career with her assistant, and 3 brokers. On the boat, guests are offered appetizers. Tyler enthusiastically photographs the dish before eating it. Margot, however, does not share his enthusiasm. Upon arrival, the guests are greeted by the manager, Elsa. It turns out that Tyler had planned to come with another companion. The excursion begins with a walk to the restaurant. On the way, Margot hears the critics talking and notices their arrogance. They also enter the smokehouse, where Elsa explains that violating the technology can be fatal. They are then shown the staff dormitory. Chief Slovik's mansion stands off to the side, isolated from the others. The tour ends in the restaurant itself, where a small hall is combined with the kitchen space. An elderly woman sits in the corner while the staff carefully prepares food using tweezers and liquid nitrogen. Elsa warns not to take pictures of the food. The chef believes it should be eaten, not admired. The time of aperitif comes, and the chef himself enters the kitchen. The waiters bring out the first courses. The guests taste them and discuss their business. Tyler excitedly tells Margot about his culinary secrets. As the first course is served, the chef claps loudly, attracting the attention of the guests. He gives a triumphant speech about the upcoming culinary delight. Tyler, as a devoted fan of the chef, almost cries with happiness. Margot, however, believes that the customers are simply paying for a service and are under no obligation to seek anyone's sympathy. Tyler breaks the rules by taking a picture of the dish. Once again, the clapping sounds. The chef announces the second course. He says that bread is the food of the poor and the assembled guests are too good for it. They are served only sauces without the bread itself. In its place is a recipe on paper. The guests are surprised and outraged, but recognize the originality of the idea. A critic expresses dissatisfaction with the texture of one of the sauces. In response, the chef tells her to bring her a larger portion. The financiers ask Elsa for bread but are flatly refused. Margot, realizing that getting any loaf will not work, refuses to eat the sauces. Tyler wants to eat her portion, but accidentally touches the glass. The incident draws the attention of the chef, who asks why Margot isn't eating. The girl explains that there is no food on her plate. The chef cannot convince her to try the dish. A new clap heralds the third course, titled Memories. Slovik introduces his mother, sitting in the corner, and tells a story about his childhood and his father's drinking. The guests are served chicken leg tacos. Before the guests taste the food, the chef talks about his unique idea. The flatbreads are laser engraved. The critic has the names of restaurants that closed after her scathing reviews. An actor has a still from his failed movie. A rich couple has scenes from their married life, including a moment with another woman. And the brokers have the details of their secret account with stolen money. The financiers are worried about the possible repercussions, but reassure themselves that the chief won't turn them in lest he become an accessory. Tyler sees an image of himself with a picture of food and gets upset. Margot wants to make a scene over the picture taking. But Tyler reminds her that it's not accepted here. They fight, but the girl is forced to comply since dinner is being paid for by him. She goes to the bathroom to smoke. The chef catches her there. He asks what she didn't like about the previous course and who she is. She's not on the guest list. He doubts that her name is Margot. The girl rudely asks him to leave her alone and goes back to the hall where preparations for the next course are underway. After another clap, the chef calls in one of his cooks and presents a dish called Chaos. Slovik remarks that the chef is good, but not talented enough. The cook admits that success in haute cuisine is unattainable for him. He then takes out a revolver and shoots himself in the head right in front of the shocked audience. As the staff carefully removes the body, everyone but Tyler watches stunned, trying to figure out what's going on. The guests assume it's just a staged scene. The chef calmly asks everyone to take their seats as the waiters carry out the bloody corpse. Soon the food is served. The chef loudly orders the meal to begin, and the terrified guests obediently take their plates. The rich couple tries to leave the room, but Elsa and the guards won't let them out. The man threatens serious consequences, to which the staff calmly twist his hands and cut off his ring finger, from which the wedding ring falls. A shocked Margot looks at Tyler, who is nonchalantly enjoying his meal. Elsa picks up the bloody ring and hands it to the suffering man's wife. The restaurant critic thinks the whole show is set up especially for her as an advertising campaign. The chef invites Margot into the kitchen for a conversation. He inquires about her real name in order to adjust the menu, and admits that they will all die tonight. However, gives her the right to choose whose side she is on, the guests or the staff. Back at the table in shock, Margot sees that Tyler is only interested in what is being served. The broker tries to break the window, but it turns out to be armored. Elsa calmly takes him back to his table. With a clap of his hands, the chef offers the guests tea, the flavor of which Tyler identifies as bergamot. The other guests continue to question what is going on. The chief explains that they each carry their own sins. A critic who has dashed the hopes of many chefs with her scathing reviews. A wealthy couple who have dined here 11 times but can't remember a single dish. This fact insults the chef as an artist. His masterpieces are devalued. To show the seriousness of the situation, the chef gives a command, and the show begins. The chief investor of the restaurant hangs outside, tied up with props of wings. The rope gradually lowers him into the water until he disappears into the depths. Margot is then led away to the chief's office. She admits that she doesn't belong here. The chief agrees and says that her place is with the working class. He guesses that she is an escort and recalls that one of her clients was the same man who had his finger cut off. The chief shares that he is tired of pleasing the capricious rich. The guests are taken outside for the presentation of a new dish. Catherine, one of the cooks, tells how the chef tried to seduce her, and after refusing, humiliated her psychologically. In retaliation, she stabs him in the leg with scissors, reminiscent of the incident with her father. The chief apologizes. The men are given a chance to escape by declaring a temporary head start. Before security begins pursuit, Catherine leads the women back into the hall where the next course is served. After tasting the food, the critic begins to praise the dish, bringing the cook to tears as this criticism once meant a great deal to her. The rich woman asks Margot if she knows her husband, and Margot sees no point in denying. Catherine confirms that everyone is going to die tonight. This is part of the concept dinner. The critic suggests that Catherine open her own restaurant, but upon learning that she was the one who suggested killing the guests, she disappointedly opens a bottle of wine. The guards catch the men one by one, even those who have made it to the boat. The last one, who hid in the chicken coop, is rewarded with a special treat. Everyone is brought back into the hall, interrupting the female company. Only Tyler continues to think only of the food served. The chef turns to Tyler, revealing that he was aware of everything beforehand. For the sake of gastronomic pleasure, Tyler disregarded the risk of death. But the problem was that the restaurant only accepted couples, so Tyler hired Margot knowing she would be killed. Margot beats him up for it until a security guard stops her. The chef invites Tyler into the kitchen and gives him a chef's tunic. The chief instructs Tyler to cook something. He is nervous but starts chopping onions and frying meat. The chief watches the process without too much emotion. After tasting the dish, chef concludes that Tyler can't cook. He observes that the ability to appreciate food does not equal the ability to cook it. The chef then whispers something in his ear. Tyler, chagrined and disappointed, takes off his tunic and goes backstage in the kitchen. The chef apologizes to the guests for what happened and asks Margot to run an errand, to bring a barrel from the smokehouse for the dessert. This was supposed to be Elsa's job, but she overlooked the task. Passing by the ajar door, Margot notices Tyler swinging on the rope. He has fulfilled the last order of the chief. Leaving, the girl hears the movie star asking why he has such a fate. The The chief explains that one day, on his only day off, he decided to visit a movie theater and watched a movie with this actor, which deeply disappointed him. For forgetting his purpose and starring in empty movies, the actor's life will end today. Margot finds a barrel and a knife in the smokehouse and sneaks into the chief's house nearby. Once inside, she sees not a living space, but another establishment. The girl tries to open the secret door, but is spotted by Elsa. She is unhappy that the chief called Margot just like them, an ordinary service worker, making her look bad. According to her, the chief never assigned her to the barrel. A fierce fight ensues, in which Margot struggles to win. She stabs Elsa in the throat, who dies on the spot. After taking the key, Margot opens the door and discovers a living room. The walls are hung with photos showing the chef's path to fame, from a fast food worker to a recognized master of cooking. On a shelf, the girl finds a walkie-talkie. In the restaurant, meanwhile, the staff is congratulating one of the brokers on his birthday when Margot rolls in a barrel in a blood-stained dress. The chief is demonstrating his ability to tolerate the heat when a Coast Guard cutter appears outside the window. Chief orders the room to be cleaned up and warns the guests that trying to talk to an officer will result in someone's death. The officer asks who made the distress call, but everyone goes silent. Upon recognizing the movie star, the officer admits to being a big fan. The chief offers him an autograph, and the actor writes on a piece of paper, "Save us." After reading the note, the officer pulls out a gun and orders them to raise their hands. The guests become bold and begin to talk about the plans for the assassination, but it turns out to be just a staging. The gun is a fake lighter, and the officer is a disguised cook. The chief accuses Margot of trying to escape and insists that she submit. As the chefs begin to prepare the final course, Margot comes up with a cunning plan. She claps her hands, attracting the chef's attention, and declares that she was not satisfied with the serving and that the food left her hungry. The man, who is used to praise, is surprised and asks what she would like to try. Margot orders a plain cheeseburger, reminiscent of the chief's early career. Chef cooks the burger personally, taking unexpected pleasure in the process. Margot takes just one bite and asks to wrap the order with it. Chef smiles and asks for a little wait. He wraps the burger and gives it to the girl, thanking her for her visit. Margot leaves a tip and leaves, casting a parting glance at the doomed guests. Staff prepares for the final course, dressing the guests in marshmallow costumes, a symbol of tastelessness and childlike naivete. The chef brings in a glowing coal and sets the combustible mixture on fire in the center of the room. Stoves are turned on, and the restaurant turns into a huge flame. On the boat, Margot watches the fire and eats a cheeseburger, wiping her mouth with a printed copy of the menu, which listed the ingredient for the last course as the guests themselves.